You want to know where you might die sooner than later in the United States? I'm going to tell you right now. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs, where we talk about places, towns, cities, states, countries, and even a couple videos about prisons. Today we're looking at cities in the United States that have a low life expectancy. The U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey says the current life expectancy in the United States is 78.5 years. As you can see in this list, there are some cities in the United States that could possibly shave 5 years off your life just by living there. Yes, some places in the United States have a lower life expectancy by 5 or more years. All things that could kill you come into play on this stat: murder rate, bad roads, air quality, water quality, local industries, percentage of smokers, fitness level, etc., etc. It goes on. There's a bunch of ways you could die early in this country, and any country actually. Obviously, these are averages. I have to say that because it's that time of the year when we get the word police on the channel, and they start telling me how I should have worded things. Always a treat. This list has the top 10 cities in the United States with the shortest life expectancy according to the U.S. Census. All right, let's see what we found. Number 10, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Rocky Mount, North Carolina has a river called the Tar River flowing right through town. I'm not sure if this plays a part in their short lifespan, but it sounds like it should, especially if you're like a woolly mammoth or something. Historically, Rocky Mount was big into rail transportation, textiles, and farming. These days, it's more pharmaceutical, manufacturing, and logistics. Now, a lot of things come into play here why this place is so unhealthy. Number one, their obesity rate is 40.6%. That makes them 7th out of 382 cities surveyed. The smoking rate is 19.2%. That's 69th out of 382. And almost 10% of the population doesn't have health care. Believe it or not, that plays a big part in your lifespan. People putting things off because they don't have health care, yeah, that croaks a lot of people. They have a population of 145,000 residents and a life expectancy of 74.6 years. That's 4.5 less than the U.S. average. Number 9, Alexandria, Louisiana. Alexandria is the 9th largest city in the state of Louisiana, and it lies on the bank of the Red River. Again, a river that doesn't sound healthy. It actually sounds like a title of a 1970s horror movie about a possessed jet ski or something. They say Alexandria is at the cusp of the Cajun culture extension to the north. The city recognizes Mardi Gras as an official holiday. They have a good-sized festival and parade every year. It's a nice place to be. I'd venture a guess and say that the overabundance of personal deep fryers is what's killing these folks, because the obesity rate here is 3rd out of 382 cities at 41.1%. Smoking rate is about 22.5%, and the amount of adults that say they don't exercise regularly is about 33%. Adults without health insurance is over 10%. They got 152,000 people with a life expectancy of 74.6 years. Number 8. Florence, South Carolina. Florence is a city about an hour and a half inland from Myrtle Beach. The city was founded as a rail hub and became a junction for 3 major railroad systems back in the day. During the Civil War, they had a military prison here, which to the military it's called a stockade. It held around 16,000 to 18,000 prisoners during the war, and almost 3,000 of them died from disease. So the place has a long history of people prematurely taking the forever nap. There's a little over 200,000 residents living here. They've got an obesity rate of 37.9%. Smoking is almost 20% of the population. About 32% of them said, exercise, what's that? And the life expectancy in Florence, South Carolina is 74.1 years. Number 7, Springfield, Ohio. Springfield is a place you stop at between Dayton and Columbus, but only if your tank is empty or your bladder is full. The last time this city had any growth during a census, since then they've seen a lot of people move out or die. This place is really uneventful, but they did have a Ku Klux Klan parade in 1923 that included a marching band. How proud a parent must be to find out that their kid made the cut and now plays the mellophone in the KKK band. The population of Springfield, Ohio is about 60,000 people, with about 135,000 living in the metro area. The obesity rate here is almost 34%, and about 22% of the population smokes. Almost 7% of the population doesn't have health insurance. The life expectancy of Springfield, Ohio is 73.8 years. Number 6, Huntington, Ashland, and Ironton, area. This is a tricky one. It's a metro area that includes 3 kind of big cities and a whole bunch of little ones in 3 different states: Huntington, West Virginia, Ashland, Kentucky, and Ironton, Ohio. This area has a history of hard times. It's almost like they agreed on it and they're just going with it. Ironton has been getting better, but there was a time when it sucked to live here. The life expectancy of this area is 73.6 years. And if you're one of the people living in Huntington, I'm sure more than one of them on their 74th birthday thought, crap, I'm still here. The obesity rate here is 37.7%, and their smoking rate is 22.3. That's 9th out of 382 cities surveyed. About 32% of the population does not exercise, and about 8% of them don't have insurance. Now, the whole metro area has a population of about 350,000 people. Number 5, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Pine Bluff, Arkansas always seems to show up on the most dangerous cities list. It's like they're an old friend to this channel. Every stat but cost of living is graded an F in Pine Bluff. The violent crime rate here is 309% higher than the national average. See, they excel at something. This city offers you an above average chance of being croaked at the hands of another. So, yeah, that's something. The obesity rate here is 39.3%. That's 12 out of 382. The smoking rate is 18th out of 382 at 21.3%. And listen to this, adults who don't exercise regularly, that is the 4th out of 382 at 35%. These people are just killing it in the stats of suckage. And then their poverty rate, 23.6. Yeah, that's 6 out of 382. Apparently they all have health insurance because they know how dangerous the place is, because they came in 226 with that one out of 382 at 7.2% don't have health insurance. Pine Bluff has about 45,000 residents with about 90,000 living in the metro area. Their life expectancy, 73.6 years. Number 4, Charleston, West Virginia. This one's too bad. I have friends in Charleston, and it looks like they have a better chance than I do of not making my 74th birthday. There are a lot of things killing folks in Charleston. Smoking and my top 10 reasons not to move to West Virginia are 2 of the leading causes. Almost 23% of the population smokes in Charleston, and almost all of the Charleston residents that saw that video about had a heart attack in the comments section, if I'm reading things properly. Charleston has a population of just over 50,000 with about 257,000 living in the metro area, which there's a ton of little small towns all up and down the Kanawha River there that are considered part of the Charleston metro area. The poverty rate in Charleston is 17.1%, which isn't the worst on this list, but it's up there. The obesity rate is 38% of the population. Adults who don't exercise regularly, it's almost 30%, and about 6% of them don't have health insurance. The life expectancy in Charleston, West Virginia is 73.3 years. Number 3, ANNISTON, Alabama. The Anniston area, which includes Oxford and Jacksonville, Alabama, is not a place you should go unless your plane crashes there. They're like Pine Bluff, Arkansas, but much worse. Buckle up, this is disturbing. The violent crime rate in Anniston is, yes, 689% higher than the national average. Did someone build a shooting range at the Anniston Mall and forget to put a back wall on it? How is this real and not be in a war zone? The poverty rate in Anniston is 17.3%. The obesity rate is 40% almost. It's 38.5. Almost 48% of the people here are considered to be obese. 20% smoke, and adults without insurance is almost 12%. There's only 22,441 people in Anniston, and they'll be lucky if they see 70 years old. The life expectancy here is 73 years old. Number 2, GADSDEN, Alabama. GADSDEN is a city in the northeast corner of Alabama, about 35 minutes north of that gem we just talked about, Anniston, Alabama. These people should use a slogan like GADSDEN is not nearly as bad as Anniston. In the 19th century, GADSDEN was Alabama's second most important center for commerce and industry, trailing only the seaport of Mobile. The 2 cities were important shipping centers, and GADSDEN for its riverboats and Mobile for its international trade. That's what it says on the website. This place is another one of those places that has all the F's in all the right places when you're grading the city. Sure, their violent crime rate's not nearly as bad as Anniston, being only 179% higher than the national average. This is a good place to die early. I mean, not a good place. No place is good for that. It just seems to happen here. The obesity rate here is 35.5% higher than the national average. Smoking, almost 25% of the population smokes here. Adults that don't exercise, almost 35%. And adults without health insurance is almost 14%. They got a population of 36,000 and a life expectancy of 73 years even. You could shave almost 6 years off your life by living in Gadsden, theoretically. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to leave some links to some videos that are somewhat similar to this that you might enjoy in the comment section below. On to number 1. And number 1, Beckley, West Virginia. A friend told me you move to the Beckley area when you want to lower the bar on life's achievements. He also said this is the type of town where half the residents dream of working at a Walmart. Interesting story about Beckley. During the presidential primaries of 1960, the vehicles of rival John F. Kennedy and Herbert Humphrey stopped at the same street corner in Beckley. Recognizing each other, the two men got out and chatted briefly. That was kind of neat. Of all places, you run into each other in Beckley, West Virginia. The obesity rate in Beckley is 40%, and get this, they're number 1 out of 382 when it comes to smoking. Over 25% of the population smokes. Adults who don't exercise, 32%, and adults without health insurance is 7.2. That one's not terrible, but still. Beckley has a population of 17,000. Now, they say it's 115,000 in their whole area there. I find that one hard to believe, but that's what it says. The life expectancy in Beckley is 72.9 years. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.